I didn't see you there. Well, while you're here, let's take this opportunity to talk about the books Divergent and Sin City. In both of these books, there's a high quality of individual versus society. So for this evening, we're going to look at these books to see what happens when the needs of the individual go against the needs of society. In Sin City, the conflict is based between the main character Merv and the head of the city Vork, who is killing prostitutes. Throughout his life, Merv has been a problem for society because he constantly goes against their wishes and acts as an individual instead of conforming to society's needs. Society tried to fix Merv by sending him to prison in hopes that the correctional system would straighten him out. He was then let out on probation and given medication to better calm himself down and act less crazy. They did this to get Merv to think more like the rest of society so that he would better conform to society's needs. These treatments did not entirely work because he still got into fights all the time. Then after Merv is framed for killing his love Goldie, he goes back to his old ways and starts killing again. Thus society, not knowing that he has been framed, decides that there is no fixing this man and calls for his removal from society. So he is once again put into prison and then executed. In Divergent, we'll be looking at two different characters to explore this theme, Al and Triss. With Al, he goes against the needs of society by keeping to the codes of his own faction, instead of adopting the codes of the Dauntless. This leads to Al becoming sort of an outcast to the entire faction. Instead of conforming to this new society, he stayed an individual. He did this by not giving his all in the fighting training portion of initiation. Instead of fighting back, he would just take some hard punches to the face and then give up. And by being extremely honest, admitting to Eric that he is scared of knives being thrown at him instead of just refusing to stand in front of them. This behavior continued to make him look bad and continuously led him into situations of public humiliation. The society tried to fix Al by encouraging him to accept the ways of the Dauntless and to leave the Kandor ways behind. But he could not do it. At the end, he truly tried to accept the Dauntless society way of life when he helped in the kidnapping and scaring of Triss. However, he hated himself so much for what he had done, he killed himself, thus removing himself from society. In the story of Triss, her needs are different than the needs of society because she is divergent. This is something that the rest of society hates because divergents think differently than the rest of society and thus could easily destroy the system that they had worked so hard on creating. Society tried to fix Trish by having her hide her abilities so that no one would know that she was divergent and could then not get mad at her. However, in the story, she is not successful in keeping her different thinking a secret, and so those in charge of society decide to remove her by killing her, and thus ending their troubles. However, she does escape, so their troubles will continue. Examples of this kind of behavior are scattered all throughout history, but one of the most prominent is the case of the insane. The insane would be observed as a problem by society because they thought differently from them, and so society decided to fix them. All kinds of medications and other devices were used to try and cure the mentally insane, but nothing seemed to work. Society just locked them away in mental asylums so that the rest of the society did not have to bother with them. Even with smaller mental disorders like ADD and ADHD, if the society finds out you have these, then they're going to prescribe you all sorts of pills and make you think and behave like the rest of society. So thus, from these two books and history, we can conclude that when the individual's needs go against the needs of society, society tries to fix the individual by making them have the same needs as society. If that doesn't work, then they are simply removed from society, so society no longer has to deal with them. Merv thought differently, so they tried to fix him with prison and medication. That did not work, so they killed him. Al was different, so the Dauntless made him think as they do. He resisted for a while, but then accepted it. He then hated what he had become, so he killed himself. Trish thought differently from the rest of society, so she was pressured to stop doing that and think the way that everyone else did. She could not do that, so society tried to kill her, proving that if you think differently from society, they will try to change you so that you do. And if that does not work, you will simply be removed from society. In Sin City, the conflict is based... bollocks. He did this by not giving his all in the fighting training portion of initiation. Oh, god dang it. Take some hard punches to the face and then give up. And by being continually, oh god dang it. Let's take this opportunity to talk about the books Divergent. Divergent. In Sin City.